welcome back to Real Talk. My name's Chuck Woodrow Wilson Sr., and I'm joined here by my special guest, Cornelius Bradshaw.
Hello, Chuck. How are you doing?
Thank you very much, Cornelius, for joining us. I'm glad you could make it. For those of you who don't know, Cornelius is a movie critic of 16 years, and he's done some famous work. Pleasure to have you on the show, Cornelius.
Thanks, Chuck.
So, Cornelius, I hear you're big on ranting on movies, huh?
Yes, that's right, Chuck.
Well, that's good. So I guess today we'll be talking about... Can you fill us in?
I'm here to talk about Star Wars.
Ah, yes, Star Wars. One of my favorite movies of all time. Yes. All of them, actually. Not just the first one or the third one, but the other ones, too. Though I can't remember their names. Though I do like that Lucas fella. He's a good filmmaker. So anyway, let's get down to it. You want to take it away, Cornelius?
Yes. In 1977, George Lucas created the world's greatest saga in the history of motion pictures. The sequels were released in 1980 and 1983. 20 years after the release of the first film, Lucas re-released his films with new scenes and enhanced special effects. In 1999, Lucas gave us Episode 1. The film was the beginning of a new trilogy. Episode 2 released in 2002 and Episode 3 released in 2005. I am talking about Star Wars, released by 20th Century Fox. But I'm not here to talk about the influence on me and the films. I am here to talk about the things that piss me off. The first thing I want to start off with is the fact that so many people criticize the film's performances of the prequels, particularly Episode 3, to being wooden. You know what? If you think you can write the story any better, write it yourself! The characters and stories are inspired by the films of the Saturday matinee serials such as Flash Gordon and Buck Rogers. Look at the performances in those films and you tell me if their performances were wooden. This is a science fiction fantasy. No one talks the way the Star Wars characters do. The second thing that should be put out in the open is people who wanted to see the original trilogy the way they were theatrically released. In 1997, Lucas wanted to fix his films to make them the way they were supposed to be made, thanks to the new digital technology. Let me make myself perfectly clear to all those simpletons. Lucas had stated that the effects in the original release of his films looked like shit and wanted to fix them. In Episode 5, the scene where Darth Vader talks to Darth Sidious is a perfect example. Have you seen what the Emperor looks like in the original release of the film? He looks like the monkey in the White House! Thank God Ian McDiarmid was still alive to replace that ugly bastard in the original trilogy. Another thing is people who hated the effect of replacing Sebastian Shaw with Aiden Christensen at the end of Episode 6. If you don't like it, too bad. It's in the film and it will stay in the film no matter how much you hate it. You smug sons of bitches really need to face the facts. The whole point of that effect is to make it connect with the prequels. Lastly on this topic are people who hated the idea of Boba Fett's voice in the original trilogy being replaced by the actor who played Jango Fett in Episode 2. If you dumbasses were listening to the goddamn story, it stated that Boba was the offspring of Jango Fett, but without any genetic enhancements or growth acceleration. He has to sound like Jango Fett, got it? And one more thing. Kratos shoots first now. Get used to it. Finally, people who can't stand Jar Jar Binks should hear my voice. You know what? George Lucas doesn't care if you hate this character. You can just take your complaints and shove it up your ass. Nobody wants to hear about how you hate Jar Jar or how annoying he sounds. Nobody cares. To quote a very wise one, it only pertains to your own little world, which in the grand scheme of things is minute and pathetic, and no one really wants to hear it. So in closing, deal with the dialogue and performances, deal with the new special effects over the shitty ones, and deal with Jar Jar Binks! Thanks for listening. Okay, my voice is totally shot.
Cornelius, my friend, you do know how to critique.
Thanks, Chuck.
Just want to say thank you to all the listeners out there. Have a great night. Thank you, Cornelius, for joining us tonight.
Thanks for having me, Chuck.
Take care, everybody.